Hi, this is Dave Ferguson from Event Planner Productivity Hacks and Perfect Event Proposals. And today I'm going to speak to you a little bit about goal setting. Now, goal setting in 2015, it's January 14th, 2015 while I'm recording this. I know I might be a bit late in the game talking about goal setting because most people have probably already done that, but I'm pretty sure that I can help add a lot of value to the goals that you've already set and hopefully make them a lot clearer and a lot easier to actually reach. So what I will discuss today is why goals are important, what goals actually are, what goals are not, specificity, try saying that with a lisp, which is really just why specificity is so important for every successful entrepreneur and business person. And then how to create a plan that will ensure you reach your goals. So why does everyone always talk about goal setting? Now, the main reasons are that without goals, we don't really have a direction. So, I mean, you could subconsciously be following goals if you're going in a direction, but setting goals will give you a clear direction. I'm going to come to this analogy in a little bit, but a goal is like a compass. So you set your goal and you know the direction you need to move in. And that is really useful for a business, of course. So I'll come to that a little bit more. Secondly, goals help coordinate teams. So if you're more than just a one-man band, then at least everyone in your team knows the direction your company is moving. And that's really helpful to just make sure that everyone is going in the right direction. Another reason is that goals allow you to measure success. By quantifying a goal, you can at least then tell whether you have met it, you're close, or you're nowhere near. So that helps you to measure your success. And measuring is definitely a hugely important thing in business and successful businesses. And I fall foul of this. I know I should have my metrics at the top of my head, like be able to just tell you exactly what my different closing rates and things like that are, but that's something I'm still working on. So, but knowing your goals helps you measure your success. And then also knowledge is power. So once you start measuring these goals, then you can start learning what you need to tweak, what you need to improve on, what's working really well so you can do more of that. So they're the main reasons that setting goals is really useful. So, I mean, my history of goal setting isn't particularly great, to be honest. Last year, I set my first lot of goals that were really worthwhile. But before that, for years before that, I've been setting goals because I've read that it's really important, or I've heard on podcasts, or I mean, every single business book you ever read is pretty much going to tell you should set clear goals. So I'd been doing that, but my goals have been really vague. They've been what are called outcome goals, which is the type of goal that most people will set, which is something like, I want to make $50,000 in revenue this year, or I want to lose 50 pounds this year, or I want to save $100,000 and add it to my retirement, or something like that. So they're goals that are just an outcome, and these are really, really hard to affect. But I'm going to show you how to turn those outcome goals into process goals, which are much more useful. So my previous goal setting had often been that had been unattainable goals, or I'd been setting them and not really kind of knowing how to get there, or even knowing if they're really possible. So I'd find out a lot later that they weren't really possible. My expectations were all over the place. So, but as I said recently, or actually the last half of last year, I did start doing this goal setting process, and it has been brilliant. It's really increased my productivity, and it's made my business shoot forward, and I know that it's worthwhile. So this is what I want to talk to you today about. So what are goals? Goals are objectives. They are an end result. They give you direction, and they're not a plan. So as I mentioned before, a goal is like having a compass, whereas a plan is like having a map. Now, which would you rather have? I mean, a compass is great in the way that it tells you exactly what direction to go in, but when you set off on that journey, you don't know what obstacles are in the way. You don't know what mountains are there, what rivers are there. So you may have some nasty surprises, and you may end up taking a lot longer than if you had a map, which is a plan. And the plan will highlight obstacles, and it will tell you what to watch out for and how to work your way around them. So what I want to show you is just how to turn the current goals you've already set. If you have set them, obviously if you haven't, then you can set some new goals. But I want to show you how to turn those into a plan or into a map. Now, why is simply setting goals not enough? I mean, it's a well-known saying in business circles. I see it all over the place on Pinterest. This little image saying a goal without a plan is just a dream. And it's really, really true. Just saying that you want to make a million in revenue this year, but not actually planning how to do that is pretty worthless. Now, I was listening to a webinar last week by a guy called Peter Shallard, who's known as the Shrink for Entrepreneurs. And he's a really cool guy. He's really knowledgeable, and he's a psychotherapist for entrepreneurs. And he's done a study over the last few years of thousands of entrepreneurs and business people, trying to figure out why some people are successful while others are not. And it tends to be that some are wildly successful while most people are just getting by. So in this webinar, I'm not going to go through everything because it took him an hour and a half, but in this webinar, he talks about the 4 pillars of successful entrepreneurs or business people. And the first pillar that he mentions is specificity. Now, what is specificity? Really, it's just basically having clear goals and a plan to reach them. So the first thing you need to do once you know what your outcome goals are is to prioritize them. So I would say I'd split these into business and personal, but we're going to talk mostly about business right now. But list out all of your goals for your business. Then I want you to cross off everything except your top 3 goals. Now, prioritizing the goals is really, really important because you need to know which ones are most important and which ones you need to spend most of your time on. So if you've got too many of them, too many priorities is exactly like having no priorities, because then you're not actually putting one as more important than the other, which is exactly what a priority is. So limit yourself to 3 priorities maximum, and list them out. But you really want one to be the overriding priority. This will help you to just know where to begin, which is really a useful thing to know, because often with the outcome goals, it's all very well and good, but if you don't know where to begin and how to reach it, then it's not going to be very useful. So it helps you know where to begin, and it allows you to know exactly what you need to do each day to reach your goal. And that type of specificity is what we're going to create with our plan. So how to create a plan. So next thing we're going to talk about is how to create the plan. So as I mentioned, your plan is like a map, and that map is going to kind of highlight all the obstacles. You're going to be able, like on another map, you'll be able to see exactly how many kilometers you need to drive or walk to get there, and you're going to see how much time it's going to take. So the first thing you do with your map or with your plan is to break down your outcome goal into monthly goals. So we're going to use the example of my goal for the next 12 months is to make $1 million in revenue. Now, it doesn't really matter what this goal is. I'm just using this as an example. So yours may be lower, it may be higher, it may be exactly the same. But the $1 million in revenue, firstly, break that down into monthly goals. So that works out as $83,000 a month, which that's pretty high, but it works for our example. So $83,000 a month. Next, you need to figure out the process goals to reach that amount. So if to reach $83,000 a month, maybe you need to put on one big event a month, or 2 medium events, or 4 small events per month. Just figure it out and try to think of all the different ways that you can make that amount of money. Next, you're going to break your monthly goals down into weekly and daily goals. So you're going to, from the list above, you're going to choose the most appropriate or what you find works for you, and you're going to break those down. So that could be you should know that you need to make $21,000 per week or $700 per day. Just knowing that will kind of really keep it clear in your head where you are at the end of each day or the end of each week or the end of each month in reaching your goals, and it will let you take appropriate action. So you know that, or it's going to be one small event per week, or one medium-sized event every 2 weeks, or one large event every month. So once you know that, then you can figure out exactly what you need to do every day. So if it's not looking likely that you're going to reach your goal, at least you're going to know that ahead of time. You're going to be able to tweak your processes, try to bring in extra ways to reach it and extra income streams and things like that. So, but knowing that you need to do 4 small events per month, now you can start figuring out, how do I do that? And then you need to start looking at your current processes or the processes you had last year. So how many proposals do you need to send out to get 4 small events a month, or 2 medium events, or 1 big event? Figure out what your success rate with proposals is. If you're sending out proposals and you get 50% of the proposals you send out, you win the client or you win the job, then at least you know that. So you need to send out X amount of proposals to reach your target. Now that you know these numbers, it becomes a lot easier. You can experiment with and be creative with different ways to reach your goals. Partnerships, joint ventures, adding additional services, changing your pricing, anything like that can be used to help you reach your goal. So once you've set your plan, and I suggest you do that over the next week, once you set your plan, that's not set in stone. You can change the plan. You can tweak it as you move through the year. You can, but I do recommend that you don't change your goal unless you really, really need to, and you realize that you've set a goal that's really not going to happen. then it's fine. Then do it. But if you can stick to the goal and just make it your priority to actually reach that goal, then you might be surprised yourself. Even if you have a huge leap in the last quarter of the year, you may surprise yourself. So that's how to create the plan. Now, how do you actually reach the goals, and how do you make sure that you follow that plan? Because setting a plan is easy. Following the plan is not necessarily as easy. Firstly, obviously, you've got to be committed. You've got to make sure that you do the tasks you need to do. And I would recommend that you work on the tasks it takes to reach your goals every day before anything else, before opening your email, before doing anything. I mean, obviously, there's going to be days when you're in an event or you've got a client meeting or something first thing in the morning, so it's not going to be possible. But try to just get into the habit of doing the tasks it takes to help you reach your goals first. Make it your absolute priority to get those tasks done every single day. And now that you know exactly what you need to do, it should be much, much easier for you to actually reach your goals. Now, there's a great book called The Compound Effect by Darren Hardy, and I definitely recommend you reading that, because that's all about habitualizing processes and getting into the habit of doing certain things. And if you could combine what he talks about in that book with your goal setting process and your goal reaching process, then it can be really, really powerful. Now, I'm going to add my kind of Excel spreadsheet of my goals for this year, or one, at least for one aspect of my goals, probably something to do with one of my business goals. So just to give you an idea of what I'm trying to do and how I've set out my goals. I'd love to hear from you to know if this has helped. I'd love to hear updates of your goal setting and how you are going about reaching your goals. So please get in contact. Please leave comments below. I will respond to every single comment. And also please share this with any friends or colleagues who you think that this might benefit. So thanks very much, and I look forward to speaking to you again soon. Thanks.